That's it.
Awesome, man. Great job.
Cool.
Great
Thanks,
job. Ladies and gentlemen, Carter McLean, all the way out from New York.
That's right.
And we're very, very happy to have you here. So thanks for coming, man.
Man, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So today we're going to be talking about improving your feel on the drums. And before we get started, I'd just like to tell you guys a little bit about Carter here. Because you're kind of like a dark horse. You know, I don't think you get enough industry credit
Ninja guy.
for all the stuff that you've been doing. And what he's been doing for the past 14 years has been crazy. So you've been playing with Melvin Sparks, Fred Wesley, Toby Lightman?
Toby Lightman?
Yeah, and Jamie McLean, which is your brother.
Ridiculous musician.
Cool. And the biggest thing I think you could say you've done was playing on Broadway for the past 14 years.
Definitely. That's like the most notable gig yet.
Yeah,
sure.
So with the Lion King show, which is pretty impressive, man.
It's a fun show, man.
Yeah.
For a drummer, it's like that's the show to get.
Yeah, and you live right downtown.
No. I used to live in Brooklyn.
Okay.
But I commute from Connecticut. We moved.
I see.
But I'm in New York 6 days a week.
That's crazy.
Working in Times Square is a little bananas.
Cool. So it'd be great if you guys could all follow him on, you guys and gals, I should say. I always say guys. If you could follow him on all the social channels. So on Facebook, you could just search Carter McLean. It's at Carter Mac on Instagram, and his YouTube. If you just search Carter McLean, you post some great videos of you just grooving. And what I love about your playing is, you know, not a lot of drummers these days, because of the amount of content, not a lot of drummers have a really unique voice. And I think with your style, your setup, which we'll talk more about later, you have a really unique voice, and his YouTube channel is very interesting. So all you should check it out. And
thanks, man.
If I haven't posted the link below, just everyone can kind of like spam his YouTube channel link. Also, I'll mention, if you haven't tried out Drumeo, we offer a free 30-day trial. If you just go to drumeo.com/trial, we do this sort of thing every day where we kind of get together with an instructor and we teach you something and we take questions at the end. And so it's really super cool inside of Drumeo, and I'd love for you to at least try it out and see if it's for you. So, the first song you played was called Meters.
Yeah, I just made it up. It's literally... I got together with the bass player at Lion King, this guy Tom Barney, who's world-class bass player, who I'm spoiled to play with every night, which is awesome. Yeah. And then a keyboard player that played Lion King for forever, this guy Ted Baker, who's also a genius musician. And I just said, come up to the house, and let's just play like a funky meters kind of a thing. Yeah. And so do 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 do, and I was like, okay, cool. Grab the jingle stick, done. Like one take.
That's it.
Moving on. Yeah.
Rhythmically, I think it's a really interesting track. So.
Yeah, it's just got a nice bounce to it.
Yeah.
It's got a nice feel, you know?
Cool.
Yeah, and that was just Ted and Tom and I said, you know, I sort of want just one of those simple, like, tempos, like... sort of bob your head to that just feels comfortable, you know? So that was the first one we did.
That's cool, man.
So.
And for those of you interested in the gear, because I know it's going to be coming up, we'll talk a little bit more, but I'll just wanted to thank Ron Dennett from George Way Drums, as well as Dennett classic snare drums. And if you guys want to find out more about any of the Dennett stuff, you can just find him on Facebook. Just search Dennett Drums, and there's like... he posts tons of pictures and videos and stuff.
Yeah, these drums are unbelievable to play. Yeah. They're so fun to play.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're sounding great out there. They sound like phenomenal.
They feel great in here. They sound. I mean, they make you want to play more.
Yeah, and I think the sound. You know, sometimes it's not always as honest. Like sometimes we'll get a drum set in, and then you know. We really
fudge a lot.
Yeah. Oh, that tom sounds bad. The tuning's off. Well, let's just like tweak it and EQ it. The drum sound is extremely honest. Like what you guys and girls are hearing out there, it's almost like what I'm hearing here. So
awesome.
Good job, Ron.
Yeah, buddy.
He's just laying down in the back. All right.
He's hanging.
So let's talk about feel. Because you got a great feel, and I'd just love to know what's going through your head when you're playing. And I know we have some points that we're going to kind of run through. And for those of you here, there's sheet music right below the video, some exercises that you're going to go through.
Yeah, they're really simple too. They're not. It's somebody that just starting to play can grab, and it's somebody that's been playing for 50 years can grab and say, oh, that's sort of a I could use that a little bit. You know?
Cool. So to start, you just wanted to, show us kind of how to break it down, how to change the feel, just from a very, very basic rock groove, right?
So, when you first start out playing, and you can play a million rock tunes with this, pop songs, whatever, you're learning the rock, the simple rock groove. And even just in that, you could line up 20 guys and say, play these notes, give them this, just have them sit here with these sticks, and they'd all sound a little different because that's their personal fingerprint of how they play, So let's take that, and you start with the simple thing. Easy, okay? So that's all pretty middle of the road volume dynamics. So to me, I thought about it a ton, and why does somebody feel different than someone else? To me, it's a lot of the interdynamics. Here it's a very simple pattern. You just got 8s on the hi-hat, so you don't have all these funky patterns to play with.
Yeah.
But even just with that, let's say I take the same thing I just played and added like a little accent push on the ands, right? So I'll start the first one, and then I'll go into the accents on ands, right? So all of a sudden it's got a different lope to it or whatever.
I listen to Steve Jordan's drumming a lot, and I find he's really good at a simple groove, and he'll just add like an accent on the end of
one simple thing.
Yeah.
And Steve's like pocket king. I mean, his groove is ridiculous.
That's cool.
He could sit there and play. For 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And people would be like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
They wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he wouldn't change. He wouldn't do a fill probably. Yeah. Okay, so that's a very good point. So then let's say we have that option to go with. We could play the ands on the hi-hat. Kick and snare are just couldn't be easier, right? So then add another layer of feel, which would be, I'll leave the snare for last. I'll add some kick drum, like a little 16th, a 1 or a 3, right? So. And I'm also adding open hi-hat. Sorry, I couldn't help it. It's weird. It's fun to break it down this way.
Yeah.
And then I'll add some more ghost notes and different, just little things on the snares, little press rolls, like stuff leading into the downbeat. It's all these little, and that boiled down is, but you add all this stuff, that could be in any pop tune. You might not want to put all of those layers.
Yeah.
Now
you're self-taught, you said, or you learned by playing on a lot of records.
Yeah.
A lot of records, right?
Yeah.
And so when you were first starting to kind of develop your own feel and your own sound, now you look back and you're like, oh, this is just what I did, and this is how you're coming up with some of this stuff. But like for another person or drummer who's in that situation, how would they even necessarily know like where to put the bass drum? Because I think, like, is there any rules, or is it just a matter of like, did you just try stuff?
No, I think the biggest thing, and this is a thing that it's not such a technical thing. I think you got to realize, because drumming in particular can get very lick oriented and math kind of oriented a little bit, because you can't play some like hot Keith Jarrett chord changes on a kit, unless you're maybe Terry Bozzio and you have enough drums to do all that.
Yeah.
And but I try to do stuff like this is actually bigger than the kit that I would bring to a gig. I would not have this probably, although that's an unbelievable snare. Yeah. And I would just have the 4-piece kit and 2 cymbals.
Yeah.
And I try to do any gig I can do on that. I don't try to have all this stuff because I'm just lazy. I don't want to carry it.
Right.
But it's listening is such a huge thing. Like you're playing music. You know, unless you're sitting doing like just snare drum competitions or something. Like your ultimate thing on a drum set is to play in a band, play tunes, play music. And so if the bass player is going doop do 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 doop ba doop 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 do do doop ba doop do 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 do, that music, that part tells you what you can get away with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think just listening to a lot of different styles of music, it tells you what to play. The music, I feel like, will really tell you what to do. Yeah. If you really listen.
Yeah. You know? So adding in those little things will then eventually just naturally happen as you continue to.
Yeah, I stole them from Zigaboo, from the Meters. I stole them from Idris Muhammad. He's one of my favorite drummers that passed away, unfortunately. And like all these guys have these little signature things. Jim Keltner is like one of my favorite drummers because he just does so much cool stuff that's out of the box. That's like, holy, like I would never have thought of that.
Every time you say Jim Keltner now, I think about the story you
told.
Okay,
we'll keep that. We'll keep that.
Okay, so let's move on to the first exercise. That you provide here, right? Yeah. Because we talked about the bass drum, the snare drum, and then the hi-hat.
Yeah, that's just building. To me, that's where a lot of the feel comes from. It's just these little added things. Yeah. It's not like some crazy stuff, you know. So that pattern, which is the first one, this one, the right, left, left. So this is great. I'll do this on this snare to start. So a lot of drummers have trouble adding these snare drum parts, these little, like, you know. It's not tough, it's just getting it really clean, getting that little note and then that, and being able to go either of them. So this exercise is just a good exercise to build your left hand up. Cool. Right? So it's just the sticking, you can see up there, it's just an ongoing thing. It's just like an ongoing trail. It doesn't end. It's not a 3-bar phrase and you stop. It's a practice. So it's right, left, left, right, left, left, right, forever. Easy. Yeah. It's not tough. So then you add, every 5th note, you count to 5, you add an accent. So the way it works out is the first one is your right hand. The second one is the second stroke of your left hand that comes up. So like that. And then the third stroke is the downbeat. So it's the middle one that's sort of tough because it's on the second stroke. So if I do, let's see, that's weird. And it's a cool exercise too. Let's say you get that under your hands, and that helps with going like. That kind of stuff. Yeah. But it's also a fun, like, melodic thing. You could take the pattern and sort of run with it. You could move it here. Sounds like we're coming to charge, actually. Right. And then do the accents here, and you'll hear it. They'll change sort of in a higher, lower note value melody on top of it. Board on the one surface. Yeah. So it's just an exercise in getting your left hand a little more happening. Because most people sit and they're playing. And their right hand is, and your left hand's like, you know, typically it's not that balanced. Yeah. So it's just a good exercise to build your left hand. Yeah, and I think it would definitely improve your feel just because it's all about having that technical facility. So when you want to make the drums sound a certain way, or the groove sound a certain way, you actually can do it. Yeah, it's just like, these are like tools in your toolbox. Yeah. You know? And I don't have a ton of them, but like the ones that I have are very useful. Yeah. You know, that I've on gigs and stuff. Like if I'm playing a gig and I play all sorts. I'll play a singer-songwriter gig, a heavy rock gig, a Broadway gig, a jazz gig, whatever.
Yeah.
They all come up in funny spots where you wouldn't think of it.
Yeah.
You know.
That's cool.
So.
And so do you ever just practice that like within time, like play a groove and then play that as a
Not
fill?
really. It was more of like a lot of students were asking. There's another one that's a really good one. I'll just show very quickly. It's just another left-hand exercise. Let's say you're playing a funk groove. 16th notes on the hi-hat. Everybody does that, right?
Yeah.
Whatever tempo. If I'm gonna do that though, I'll go. Feels better. You don't always have to play 16ths on the hat. You could do it. This is an exercise. I'll just show it to you. I do 16ths, then I double them. Both hands are doing the 16ths.
Yeah.
Then I do 8s and then 16ths here. So. Just so you have the option. Because when you're playing stuff, it's sometimes nice to have a little padding. You know, if you're just playing. For the option.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It just fattens stuff up. Like maybe you go to the chorus and. Just, again, another option.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's easy. It's just 16th notes.
Yeah, I know. It's a simple anyone can do it, any skill level. So.
There's no like, okay, it's this, and then you cross. Just like, again, it has to do with the tune.
Yeah.
It has a purpose.
And so within, we were talking before, and you said something about when you play the Lion King gig, there's a specific song that requires a lot of this left-hand stuff.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I'll play it. Yeah, so there's a tune where you have to play basically a shuffle in your left hand. And again, like I started doing this stuff a long time ago, just out of being like, oh, that sounds like it would really fit in this tune really well.
Yeah.
So I started practicing it, and you know, perfect that Lion King has this tune because I could play it. Yeah. So basically the tempo changes sometimes. Sometimes it's faster depending on who's conducting, but the basic feel is you're playing upbeats on the floor tom, oompa with your feet, but the hand is. I mean, there's more, but that's the meat and potatoes of the group.
Yeah, and so, I mean, you must have practiced that left hand exercise a lot to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, my hand, this actually helped more, because that's sort of what you're doing. You're just playing the hi-hat part sort of over here. Yeah. It's people get sort of befuddled maybe sometimes because the left hand is supposed to go. Having a busier part, it might be quiet and busy.
Yeah.
Doesn't come up a lot.
I think when I look back to when I was first learning within the first couple of years, and I think if I tried to do something like that on the left hand, it would have just been so loud.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Dynamically, it's like, and that's the again why those accents are so great. It gives you the control of that, because like if you play. Feels awful. There's no like subtlety there.
Yeah.
You know, it's having the control, and that's a big part of it.
Nice. Cool. Okay, we got to move on here.
Sorry.
That was my bad. So exercise 2.
Which one is that? Oh, this is the shuffle thing.
Yeah.
So everybody loves, like every drummer loves the John Bonham shuffle, the Rosanna Jeff Porcaro shuffle. Like it's a fun, you know, the Bernard Purdie shuffle. However you want to. That feel is fun. That like. Feels good. It's fun.
Yeah.
So there's that shuffle, and then there's the like. the other day, literally just going. So you can sort of thread 3 different you're all of a sudden in like a 6/8, then you're in a 4/4 rock groove, and then you're back into like a double time 6/8 shuffle.
Yeah.
But your hi-hat hand never changes.
Yeah.
Right? So the stripped down easy version, if I could play it without all the ghost notes and stuff, is sort of, this is always like your anchor.
Yeah.
But it's like a little bit of like a smoke and mirrors kind of a thing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like an ear training exercise that your hand doesn't start going like. But I just thought it was an interesting thing to work on because it's another independence thing for your hand. It's also sort of a metric modulation for your ear to be comfortable with and going. Sort of swerving in and out of them.
Yeah, well, you need to train your ear to be able to hear the difference between those fields.
Yeah,
right?
totally, and not get thrown off, and then your kick and your high. When I first did it a couple of times, I was like, ooh, ooh. And then your ear goes, oh no, it's just this.
Yeah.
And it sort of locks in and it makes sense.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So for those of you watching, there is sheet music for that. Because I know, and it's written with the most basic stuff, so not all the extra ghost notes. And so you can just practice, I guess.
Yeah, the bass,
yeah.
The basic one is. I mean, I would never play. But once you get your ear trained, then you can start going. So yeah, that's just another thing to practice.
That's cool, man.
It's fun.
Okay, the next one is a super cool exercise. I love this because it's in 5s, and 5s are like one of my favorite things to play. So
this one I've been doing forever. I used to watch like Dennis Chambers and all these guys that were just blowing like crazy all over the place, and I saw him doing this like sweeping a double stroke roll.
Right.
Because all I'm doing here is right, right, left, left.
Yeah.
So you could do. This is another thing, take a simple thing, right, right, left, left. But you could break that up in so many different ways. Yeah. You don't have to just go. You could go like. So I started doing this thing. I would add a kick drum. So. I'm going to do the first bar of what's written here because the way it's written now is a longer phrase, but I usually just do 1 bar. I wrote it out as 2 if you wanted to go the 2-bar extravaganza.
Yeah.
So let's say you're playing slow. To do the foot. So the point is you could break it up here. I'm trying to talk in my head. I need to talk out loud. So you can sweep it up that way. Or you can, and you have to add an extra note at the end to make it fit in 4. Otherwise you're sort of stuck.
Right, because it's only 15.
Yeah, it's only 15 notes. Or you can skip over and do it on an eighth note later. You know what I mean?
Skip over and do an eighth note later. How do you mean?
If you wait an extra eighth note, then your pattern will fall back down on one.
Oh, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So you could I do it this way. So the last note is. So yeah, that's just an easy pattern. You can play it fast, slow. You could play triplets with it. So. And I change it up so much, I don't strictly use that anymore. But that's a really good jumping off point because a lot of fills are, and they're all da 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 da, and it's usually in groups of 4, and the crash always comes in on 1.
Yeah.
And this is a cool way, again, like a group of 5, to just break up where you're hearing your accents and your fills. So you're not just like. All that stuff's like landing on downbeats.
Yeah.
And the 5s get you sort of away from it.
Yeah. And so you seem to use doubles a lot in your Drumeo.
Yeah.
And so how did you go about developing those?
Yeah, so I use singles and doubles basically make up almost all the stuff, and then flams.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, like this is a super tight snare, will practice on like a pad or something that's really bouncy. And it's great because it's super easy. You could just use bounce and sort of make it happen. I try to stick everything out when I'm playing. So a good way for me to practice that is just pick on your kit whatever your lowest, loosest head, which is typically like floor tom, and practice it there. Let's do this so you can really hear it. These are very resonant drums, but so you can hear each note. If I try to just bounce that, like using, it sounds like a press roll.
Yeah.
So you should have the facility, and sometimes the sticking, I don't know these stickings that I'm playing right now.
Yeah.
I'm just hearing phrasing, like, sometimes it'll land on my right, sometimes land on my left.
And you like in real time, your brain is just telling your body.
Yeah.
So you must have, you practiced it a lot.
I think I was just playing phrases and stuff. Yeah. Like right now, I'll play a couple, like 2 seconds, because I know we're on a time crunch.
No, play. When you're playing sounds great. So the more you're playing, the better.
So let's say I'm just playing, I know where I'm going to pretty much end up, but it's like, I think I've been playing since I was, 9, and I did the whole, like, so after a while you hear different patterns, and even if you just went, it doesn't have to be like broken, it doesn't have to be broken up, you could just crush like your rack tom. And to me, it's all phrasing. I'm not thinking like this is a paradiddle and then there's a flam and then it lands with a right, left. I don't think of that at all.
It takes the music out of it, I find then. But
totally,
but as teachers and what we do here at Drumeo so much, we're always trying to find ways to explain.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough
because you're like, oh, just do this, and the kid's going, that's hard.
Yeah, but you also don't want them to always be thinking in licks. Like, okay, it's this lick, and then you have to play this lick. And then what I find that happens is you'll see drummers just kind of force these licks into music. And
they're like, I practiced this for 3 weeks. I have to use this on my next gig.
And it doesn't work
And the singer's going, what are you doing?
Yeah.
That's a lot where your ears come in and say, is this appropriate?
Yeah.
Or should I just maybe play a groove?
Cool.
You know?
Okay, man, we got to keep moving, and we're gonna get to some of the stuff you do on Broadway. So
cool.
The Lion King, the Circle of Life groove you're gonna play.
Circle of Life, baby.
Okay. What do you got for us?
So, so this comes back to feel, right?
Yeah.
So the groove that I have written out is what was given to me at the show, right? And it's very, very, very similar to, like, if you're into, I'm a huge Peter Gabriel fan.
Yeah.
The In Your Eyes song, the huge, you know, does it say anything where he holds the...
I don't know.
Somebody will get that. It's that feel, and it's a very similar feel. So this is the first song I play on the gig, and so there's no dynamics or anything written here, right? So tempo's like here. Da, da. Okay, I'll play it. I'll play it how I play it at the show. So it's obviously like very Tom.
Yeah.
And at Lion King, there's actually 2 racks, which is funny. It's like 10, 12, 14, 16.
Yeah.
So I actually ended up playing this rack would be here, but that's the written out part. So the simple, what's written here is. Which is cool.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of shape to it when you play it that way.
Yeah.
And that's where I think feel comes into the thing is you can take that part and shade stuff, play a couple of the parts really quiet, but the main part of that groove basically is like... So I try to think of the show like a gig, you know? I'm not trying to play just a vanilla, like, one monotone version of it. Obviously, you're trying to make music, you know?
Yeah. And so, like, especially for a show like that, like we were talking at lunch, you're saying everything is charted out for you exactly what you're doing.
Every 16th note accent, every note is...
But you still will then put your, Carter's feel on playing this stuff.
I'll do one other quick one. And this ties in with something I was going to talk about really quickly was... I have a similar thing. I have a music stand over here with all my implements on it.
Right.
Right? So this is sort of similar, right? So, I mean, I have these 3, then I have a thinner set of Vic Firth bundle sticks, and then I have a 5A with a mallet on the back. I got a triangle beater, I got a shaker, a kashishi, all this stuff. So a big part of this stuff is, being able to play the same kind of stuff with different implements.
Yeah.
Like, these things are loosey-goosey. But you got to be able to make it happen. So another big pattern in the show that comes up in 5 tunes is this one. I'll just play the hands. Right, so it's like a little phrase, and then there's a tune where you got to use your feet. Again, it's that feel comes in a lot in the show.
Right.
But that pattern written out is just. That's technically right, but there's not a lot of music in that. There's no accent. There's no shape to it.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that sort of boils down to me what a good feel is. That you take something like a simple rock groove or like that pattern. Slowly start making it feel better and groove more. And there's a lot of that throughout the show. It's like a heavy African pop gig, basically. Yeah. So it better feel good or it's like you're out.
That's cool. So it's very common themes that are coming up. Like, you definitely rely on technique to help you pull the feel out of your other
Sure,
drums.
yeah.
But then also your ears and creating those different dynamic levels to give the grooves texture.
Yeah, to me, your ears are like the biggest. You should have the most chops here.
Yeah.
That should be your heaviest chops. Because when you're on a gig with like heavy guys that have played with everybody, and it's your turn to step up and play,
Yeah.
You're not really thinking about this. Or at least I'm not. I mean, I know what I'm doing here. I could have these on mute and I would know what's happening. I'm zoning out on what the bass player is doing, what the keyboard player is doing,
Yeah.
if everyone's looking at each other. Like, that's the stuff you actually use on the gig after you get all this stuff together.
Yeah.
You're just, you know, it's like you get in your car, you drive. You don't think about, all right, I put the key here and I think that's the gas.
Right.
And that's, you just get in and you're thinking about where you're going,
Yeah.
you know.
That's cool. Man, I know you have more stuff to talk about, but I don't think we have time.
That's cool.
So we're going to have to
Really?
have you... Yeah, I know.
Wow.
We're going to have you back for
Okay,
sure, okay?
cool.
Because I'd love to dive more into, like, you know, all the aspects of getting that gig and holding that, because you've been playing at the Lion King gig for how long now?
Long time. Well, I've had it officially for like almost 5 years.
That's crazy.
But I was a sub there when I first started, so I've been there over 14 years.
Wow.
So I started when I was pretty young.
Yeah, so we definitely got to have you back out and
Cool,
chat
man.
some
I'd love
more.
to. This place is amazing, by the way. Unbelievable.
So we're going to get into questions. So if anyone is watching and you're watching live, there's a submit a question box right below the video. Okay, so just go ahead and submit the question. There are already quite a few in there, so we're going to get to as many as we can. I just want to take a minute to thank Ron Danette from George Way Drums, Danette Drums, Zildjian Cymbals, Vic Firth, Remo, Westone, and Adam Murphy at Remo. You want to meet?
Thank you, Adam. Yeah.
And Westone. So check out all those products. You guys are hearing what these products sound like.
Everything sounds killing.
Yeah,
sounds
so
great.
You can make a decision, I think, pretty accurately.
Yeah. If you like the way these sound, you can go out and buy it all.
Yeah, cool. So we're gonna play a couple different songs now while you guys get some questions in. So the first is "Brothers in Need" by the Gold Magnolias.
Cool.
And you're gonna put on this. You wanna just mention this thing?
Big fat snare drum mute. I love this thing. They make two different kinds. They make this one and they make one with a cutout.
Can I just?
Check it out.
I've never actually held it. I see. That's how it stays on.
It's just got like a little weight to it.
Yeah, that's cool.
So you can hear the difference straight up. I mean, I hate to put it on Ron's drums because they sound so good. But, you know, for like an older Motown dead snare, it's so quick. You're not messing with like, I mean, the wallet trick is great. But this thing like lowers the pitch somehow a little bit. Maybe the surface area. Sweet.
Yeah. It's cool.
For just that Motown. Thanks, cool. Big Fat Snare. BigFatSnareDrum.com.
So the first song is "Brothers in Need" by the Gold Magnolias, and then after that, you're going to be playing a song called "Tom and Ted." It's by Ted Baker.
Yeah, that's the name I came up with.
Awesome. Okay, so right after this, we'll get to some questions. So if you have any, get those in.
Cool.
Make
Is that it? That's all?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all.
Sounds great, man.
Thanks.
The first question, ready to go?
Let's go.
From Tommy D. He says, when engaged on a long Broadway show, do they have multiple drummers on call in case of sickness or vacation, and do you rotate in?
No, I do every show. Okay.
I don't know.
No, I know. No, I would lose my. I mean, yeah, I have. I have 6 subs, I think, right now.
Okay.
And you have to have that many because some guys. I mean, I used to sub, and you sub on other shows, and some guys are out of town on tours, and da 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 da. So you always have to have guys. Like if I fell down a flight of stairs and broke my arm, knock on wood, hopefully that won't happen. It's not like Lion King's going to go dark. Like somebody's got to go in there and kill it.
Yeah. So then. Oh shit! I just lost what I was going to say. Okay, whatever.
Do I train the guys? Yes.
Well, train the guys or. No, I lost.
But these guys are already great drummers. All my subs, thank you guys. You're the best.
Cool. This next one's from John Gill. He says, thanks, Carter and Jared, for this lesson. Carter, Jared mentioned you are self-taught. Did you study with an instructor to read percussion clef and to read charts such as The Lion King?
That's exactly, yes. Yeah, I did. That's exactly right, is what I meant to say. Yeah, I taught myself playing to Zeppelin records and Rush records and jazz bebop records, and I was trying to like play what Dave Weckl was playing in like 6th grade.
Right.
I just was like, well, give it a shot. Probably didn't sound anything like it, but trying it that's a big leap. You know what I mean? But yes, I had a teacher for a couple years in high school named Phil Burnett, who actually lives in my town, which is hysterical, where I moved. And he sat down and said, look, you can play all this stuff, man, but I put an 8th note rock groove and you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So he showed me note values and all of that stuff, which is huge to be able to do that.
That's cool. I remember what I was going to ask you. How many shows a year are you actually gone for?
It's funny. I don't know any other job where you could miss half of the year.
Yeah.
But you're allowed to miss every quarter half of the shows.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, it's great. So if I want to go out on tour with like, my brother or Greg Holden or whoever, I can go.
And you don't have to be worried about someone taking your job. Like it's locked.
Nope. It's my gig. Thank God.
That's really cool. This is from Scott Rocks. He says, what is your black head on your snare? I know it's Remo, but what
This
what
is
model?
A black Ambassador. It's an Ambassador black suede, and it sounds killing. It sounds really nice.
Nice. This one's from Ben Karp. He says, what interested you about The Lion King, and how did you get the job?
That is an extremely long story.
We're going to have to do another video with you where we just talk about
that's like a 20-minute story, and that's even cramming it down.
Right.
Long story short, Tommy Igoe was the drummer forever.
Yeah.
He was there when it opened. I was with another drum company previously before I found these beauties.
Yeah.
And Tommy was with those guys. When I moved to New York, they said, you should contact Tommy. He's a good guy to know in the city. Long story short, he asked me to sub for him. I became like one of his main subs. He ended up leaving the show and moving out west, and they offered me the gig.
Huh. Cool.
That's the most concise version.
I'm sure there's many more pieces.
There's a lot of layers to that, yeah.
Another question from the same guy. What's it like playing with a conductor and an orchestra?
That's another hour-and-a-half video. Very quickly, it is... the thing is, like, when I got the gig, they basically broke it down like this. The conductor is the captain, and I am the guy driving the boat. So the conductor is showing you where to steer the boat, basically.
Yeah.
And depending on who's up there, you have to take it a little bit with a grain of salt, because they might be conducting some string section that needs to be going a little faster. Yeah. So in your internal metronome, you need to have the show's tempos pretty on lock within a couple BPM.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
But working with a conductor is a whole other skill set that you just have to do.
Yeah. This one's from Jive. He says, what's your favorite genre to play and why?
Man, it's funny. I really love playing, like, when I play with my brother, he plays like a sort of a southern rock, pop songwriter thing, and I love sitting down and crushing. Can I play real quick?
Yeah.
I love John Bonham. He's like the guy, for that style. But sitting down and playing. much as I like, crushing as hard as I can on a gig, breaking like 3 A's, and I like sitting here and if I'm playing with a singer-songwriter or something and I have to play like they're totally different skill sets, but I tend to not hit that hard. I can if I really want to, but I feel like the drums at a certain point sort of choke out. Yeah. And there's a certain sweet spot. And playing quiet, man, is fun, like when you want to play loud, the loud gets really like, whoa. Yeah. It sticks out. Because if you're on 11, there's nowhere to go up. There's no 11 and a half. Maybe there is.
This is from Sarah Man. He says, a few different questions, but the main theme is he doesn't feel like he's very musical on the drum set. And so do you have any advice for someone who thinks that their drumming just sounds really boring and plain?
Yeah, I get that. And that comes to the phrasing thing when I was talking about those fives, like coming with those, getting away from that kind of thing. And like the whole like, fine. There's a million pop bands you can play with and do that all night. Yeah. But you can get to a point where like get some different sticks, get some brushes, play with your hands, play with mallets, and like put stuff on the drums. Come up, go out and get a shaker, and pretend this is your new ride cymbal or hi-hat, and try stuff. And I'm just playing. It takes 10 minutes to figure that out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it just changes the way you're thinking about.
Yeah, because you're not doing all these licks that your hands like. Playing all the drummy, fast stuff. Yeah. You might get like, I hit a wall with that, slow everything down, and just like have some space.
Yeah. Here's a question for you, and it's not a bad question at all because I was wondering the same thing, but it seems like
I'm nervous already about this question.
This is from Sneezeroo. It says, I missed the first 15 minutes, so if you've already addressed this, that's fine. But if not, I'm curious about the way the ride and the crash are set up so close that they hit each other every time you hit it.
Didn't even notice that? I don't care. It's like, look, if you're crushing this thing and it hits that, you're obviously going for a large wash. And this cymbal sounds amazing. So does this one. They're similar. They're big, washy cymbals. So if I'm going, and laying into this, it doesn't bother me. Yeah. I honestly I don't even think about that stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because when you're playing quiet, they're not hitting each other.
Yeah. Yeah, they sound great.
Yeah, those are nice.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take 2 more.
Wow, that flew by.
I told you, man.
Oh my God.
It's like this.
I have too much to talk about. Yeah. Just be quiet.
This is from Ned Niemi. Carter, how has your playing expanded once you discovered Ron Dennett and all of his products? They've made me want to get on the drums and play more. This sounds like Ron.
What's the name of the person? Honestly, the first time I played one of these kits, I played his snares and was blown away. I actually bought one before I really met Ron and took it out to Europe with me and did like more of a Zeppelin-y rock blues band. And I was so blown away with it, I sort of had my eyes and ears open for what he was doing. Yeah. And when I heard he started making these George Way drums, I was like, man, that's really up my alley. Like it's sort of an old school look and feel, and it's got the old badge, and it's just, they're cool. And we ended up talking, and I ended up getting a kit and playing it, and I was just like, these are for me. They're just very simple, really well-made drums. You can tune them in 2 seconds, and they just sound very open. I've been hitting these pretty... They just like really sing, love them. They're just like amazing drums. So.
Cool. Okay, well, the last comment is no question, but or this is from Michelle Badeau. No question, but only a big thank you to Carter. Now I have to go practice. So that's our goal, man. Get people back on the kit.
Go hit the shed and get musical, you know? Like, go play as much music as you can.
Yeah.
If you don't play jazz, go check out a jazz record on whatever, iTunes, or actually go buy a vinyl record and put it on and practice to it, even if you sound awful.
Yeah.
Everyone sounds awful. Tony Williams, well, he might have never sounded awful. But, like, you know, everybody starts somewhere. Like, I didn't just wake up one day and play all this stuff.
Cool.
So.
Okay, I just quickly want to, I know we talked about the drums a lot, but I know there's going to be so many questions, and there was so many that I didn't actually get to. So I just want to go over exactly what Carter's playing. So this is a walnut George Way kit. It's a 12, 14, and then a 16-inch stainless steel floor tom.
Yeah, that's a beast.
And that's an 8x14 Donette titanium, his main snare drum. And this is a 6.5x14 K cast Donette bronze, which is, I mean, look at this thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's an unbelievable. They're all the stuff Ron makes. I mean, he's like an artist, man. Yeah. Everything is ridiculous. I love the stuff.
And so if you guys want more information on any of this stuff, you can just go find him on Facebook, Donette Classic Drums, and you know, you search there, you'll find him, and you can message him and hopefully get yourself set up with a kit. You also wanted to thank Adam Murphy from Remo, West Tone In-Ears, Vic Firth, and Zildjian for providing.
And Ron, obviously.
Yes,
obviously.
and Ron.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, and dude, thank you so much.
No, this was a blast. That went by, I felt like we talked for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. That's why I say, next time you come back out west, we'll have to do another one.
Yeah, we'll do another extended, topic or whatever.
Part 2.
Cool.
We had another guy named McLean, Mark McLean.
I know Mark pretty well.
And he actually, he came out, same thing, went by so fast, so then he contacted us, and next time he was out, we did a part 2
cool.
to his, so we'll have to do that with you as well.
Mark's great, man. He's a monster.
Cool. So the last song you're going to be playing is something I haven't written down.
It's by a good buddy of mine, Greg Holden, who's an amazing songwriter, singer, golf buddy, good buddy. And this is a track, I think it's on his new record that just came out. And it's an amazing record. I've toured with him a little bit when I can go out and run around just for a second. And I just thought it was a cool part. It's like a big intro on the toms, and then it goes to like sort of a John Bonham-y rock. It's just a big pop tune. It's sweet.
Cool. And I want to mention one more time, for those of you interested in Drumeo, there is the free trial, drumeo.com/trial. Just go there and consider signing up. We do this sort of thing every day, not necessarily with Carter, but we have our in-house instructors and stuff like that. If you have any questions about anything, you can always just email me, jared@drumeo.com. Okay, don't be shy. I'm happy to answer any questions about this lesson, anything else drum-related, or about Drumeo. So, yeah, feel free to reach out and we can chat. But thanks again, man.
Thanks, dude. It was a blast. Let's do one more. Mm-hmm.
Constant question. Always thought there was no escape. Never really thought about what it would take. and I am free again. It was ripped wide open, and I am free again. And I am free again, free again.